Everywhere you look, the rich history of the United Kingdom is there to be seen. But hidden beneath our feet, there's still a wealth of archaeological treasure just waiting to be found. That's why each year, up and down the country, our archaeologists dig down, searching for fresh discoveries.
Another one.
Revealing the imprint of ancient civilizations.
Yeah. So we are looking at a completely unknown Roman town.
That's crazy.
Wow.
And unearthing priceless objects.
Might be a pendant.
Oh, yeah, I can see that.
This is something special, isn't it?
Yeah, I've not seen anything like it so far.
Every dig adds new pieces to the ever-growing archaeological jigsaw
Gotta come and have a look.
that is the epic story of our islands. It's been an extraordinary year full of challenges, and yet I've been able to visit so many exciting digs up and down the country.
Oh my goodness.
There have been spine-tingling discoveries to witness.
That is the face of a Trojan.
Yes.
My heart is racing.
And I'm even getting a chance to use a trowel myself. I'm joined by a trio of expert investigators.
I can actually see the texture of the weave, and it's, what, 1,600 years old?
It's amazing that a small DNA sample like this can tell that really quite big story.
As they dig deeper for answers.
Same technique as the Romans used.
Exactly.
Finally, the archaeologists bring their best finds into the studio.
Whisk that away. You can see that this object has had a life of its own.
For up-close analysis.
It's astonishing detail. Welcome to Digging for Britain. In this special episode, we're in the east of England, where I'm lucky enough to join in uncovering a spectacular and internationally important piece of Roman art. From under a crop of wheat, one of the most jaw-dropping finds ever featured on Digging for Britain.
So much colour, isn't it?
It's a beautiful thing, isn't it?
A Saxon burial in Kent shows the brutality of a 7th century death.
When we lifted the boss up, we realised the skull had been crushed in.
And in Norfolk, we get to taste ale just how the Anglo-Saxons made it.
Thank God I'm not driving home.
Across Britain, on hillsides and in town squares, the indelible evidence of Roman rule is there for all to see. Dedicated archaeologists have spent whole lifetimes piecing together evidence. Whether reconstructing once great buildings or studying priceless possessions, this work has created a vivid portrait of Roman Britain. It's such a well-trodden field of study. It's fascinated antiquarians and archaeologists for centuries, and you could be forgiven for thinking that there wasn't much new left to discover. Well, think again. The Roman occupation of Britain was an era of intense activity lasting almost 4 centuries. The Romans built to last, but periods of great upheaval followed, and England's fertile soil has been tilled and repurposed for so many centuries since that sites revealing completely new Roman treasures are rare to find. Which is partly why this dig, at a secret location just west of Peterborough, has got the experts very excited. Romans always keep archaeologists on their toes, and just last year, in this field, the most amazing Roman mosaic was found, and then it's lain safely covered up by this crop of wheat until now. You can see the wheat being harvested. The same family has farmed this land for 60 years, never realising what lay just beneath the surface. When farmer's son Jim first found the mosaic, it was only partly revealed. Now Jim's back to help uncover it in full. So Jim, you discovered this, you made this discovery. Tell me about it. How did it happen?
Last year, 2020, during lockdown, we brought the kids to the field so that we could get out of the house. There was a whole palaver with a load of angry bees, which meant that we couldn't go back the way we came, and we ended up having to go along the field boundary, which didn't have any crops in it. And along the ground was lots of different bits of pottery, which didn't really look like they should have been in the field at all. So there was orange pot, and there was multicoloured pot, and there was oyster shells.
And you'd never seen anything like that before?
No, so this was a real surprise because, I mean, I've been in and out of this field for a long time, since I was a teenager.
A wet winter followed by a drought revealed previously hidden fragments of Roman pottery, brick and tiles, but it was satellite images that suggested something really out of the ordinary.
So just using the overhead maps that are available on the internet, and right in front of me, in this field that we're standing in now, was a crop mark which looked like someone had drawn it with a piece of chalk onto my computer screen. It looked almost like a plan of a church or some sort of castle or something like that.
Jim figured out where the mark was and, after getting permission, began digging. Pretty soon, things got interesting.
My spade hit something hard. It was the big shock, basically, was these large tesserae, which I now know they are.
Tesserae, Latin for cubes or dice, are the small coloured tiles that make up a mosaic.
There's another panel!
Jim's family soon found they'd uncovered more and more.
Oh, it's not the end.
No, you're joking.
Realising the scale of his discovery, Jim called in the professionals.
I'm just tickling it, and I'm getting some more mosaic underneath.
As further layers of earth were removed, part of a huge and clearly very special Roman mosaic was revealed. Now back for the 2021 dig, Dr. John Thomas is leading the University of Leicester Archaeological Services team.
And this is where we're going to be digging again.
Yeah.
David Neal was once chief illustrator for English Heritage. He spent his life studying and recording Roman mosaic art.
And that's all pegged out,
Right.
and you'll be able to pick up where you left off.
Yes, and I want to use the same baselines.
They got a sneak preview last year. Now they're back to fully excavate and record the mosaic in all its glory.
I mean, what an amazing site to be involved with. You must be
incredible,
itching to get back to it this year.
Really much so, yeah. We've never seen the like of before, certainly in our area, but even in Britain.
So you uncovered a good proportion of this mosaic last year and then realised it was hugely significant. But I didn't hear anything about it last year, though.
No, and once we realised the importance of the discovery, we really started to think we needed to step back and sort of gather our thoughts a little bit, really, and come up with a plan with which to come back. But the importance of it dictated that we needed to keep everything secret.
Although only about half of the mosaic was uncovered, it was enough to show that it featured scenes from the epic Greek tales of the Trojan War.
David, you must know mosaics in Britain better than anybody else. How significant a find is this?
I would say it's the most important mosaic to have been found in Britain for over 100 years.
No.
Yes, and it's one of the most important mosaics that have been found in Northern Europe, without a shadow of doubt.
And you're not exaggerating. This is astonishing. So for you, it really is a once-in-a-lifetime discovery.
It is indeed. I mean, when it was found last year, it was quite staggering. This mosaic, with this painterly quality about it, is unlike the majority of mosaics in Britain.
And we're looking at other areas to try and find out how the mosaic fits in with the building that it sits in, but also buildings that may be around it.
How big is this site, then?
It could cover the whole field. There's potential for a lot more.
To get a sense of what else the Romans built here, magnetometry and ground-penetrating radar have been used to create a detailed survey of the entire field.
John, I'm blown away by this geophysics. I mean, it's extraordinary. You can see so much detail.
Surely can. I mean, this is very good at identifying the cut features, so the negative ditches, such as here. These very angular ones and these sweeping ones down here.
So this is a big building with the mosaic in it, and it's got these really interesting features.
Yeah, so that's part of the area where we found the mosaic, and that's probably the area where the owner and his guests would have sat in the dining room looking out at the mosaic, because the orientation of the mosaic strongly suggests it's got to be viewed from that way.
Right.
Alongside the building that contains the mosaic, the geophysics reveals evidence of walls and rooms nearby. So a second trench is being opened. Debbie Frierson is the excavation supervisor.
In this early stage, we've got this wall across here has shown up, and this ditch has shown up. It's quite a substantial ditch, and it goes around the whole of the site.
And I can see that there's some activity going on over there.
Yeah.
A third trench is being dug on the opposite side of the field, where the survey has revealed some intriguing shapes.
Potentially they're shrines or temples.
So you've got a really precious opportunity to uncover this incredible, this amazing mosaic, but also actually to take a much more holistic approach and to understand more about the whole villa complex, what life was like here in the Roman period.
Yeah, and that is the ultimate aim, really, to give that story about this place that is you know, meaningful.
The first day of the excavation is nearly over, but Jim and Peter have managed to get below the earth and protective membrane that's covered the mosaic for the last year, and now just sand hides the tesserae.
They must be getting close now. Jim, I see you've put the shovel down. Does that mean you think you're close?
Yeah, we're within about an inch of the surface now, so ready to take a bit of sand off if you want to have a go.
I'd love to. Is that okay?
Yeah, sure. Some tools here.
And that plastic one. Where do we start, Peter?
We're in the corner, so somewhere there's the shield bearer behind the king. So King Priam is here somewhere.
In Homer's Iliad, Priam, king of Troy, loses his son in battle against the invading Greeks.
Can I kneel down on here?
Yes. Oh, look.
Oh, my goodness. It's just there.
It is right under the surface. So.
Oh, look at that. That's amazing.
So, the shield of the shield bearer.
This curving around here?
Yeah, that is his shield running into the border here.
Okay, so his face is going to be just here?
Yeah, it is. It is fabulous, isn't it?
Oh, my goodness, this is amazing.
You look them in the face. It's, you know, you don't get to do that very often.
That is the face of a Trojan?
Yes. So this ought to be Priam with a bit of luck. So...
My heart is racing.
Yeah, amazing.
Just amazing.
Hang on.
Look at that.
That's Priam's face. There we go.
Oh, there he is.
There's his Phrygian cap, because he is the king of Phrygia as well as the king of Troy. You just don't want to stop uncovering it, do you?
No. Oh, Jim, I'm quite emotional seeing this. It's just amazing. I feel incredibly privileged to be here to help begin to uncover it. Nobody's seen those faces for perhaps 1,600 years. It's mind-blowing. This whole site is so precious, and I just can't wait to come back and see how much more of this amazing site they'll have uncovered then. There he is.
The dig is continuing for another 2 weeks, so join me later in the show as I get my hands dirty, helping to unearth the rest of this titanic masterpiece.
The 6th and 7th century in southeastern Britain is a fascinating period. We see a distinctive culture emerging and wonder how much of that is influence from abroad, how much of it is homegrown. And where we see that culture best is in graves, because the burial rite of the time was to inter people fully clothed with their jewellery, with other objects. And as we see so well at our next dig, each burial is like a time capsule.
This extraordinary dig site is located on the eastern tip of the Kent coast, just 25 miles from continental Europe. With the last of the Roman army departing in 410,
The Kent coast was clear, and history tells us of the arrival of Saxons, Angles and Jutes. When work recently began on a housing development here in Deal, it revealed over 80 graves, some containing spectacular finds. Among the archaeologists who've been carefully excavating these treasures is Dr. Andrew Richardson from the Kent Archaeological Trust. This extravagant burial dates from the 7th century.
So what we've got here probably is a woman, and clearly from the objects in the grave, this is somebody of considerable wealth and status. At the feet, we've got this beautiful glass vessel. It's almost certainly a Kentish product, probably produced at Faversham, where we think the kings of Kent had a high-status craft-working centre. So we know straight away this individual's family is wealthy enough to have deposited a glass vessel like this into this burial.
The unusual variety and quality of the grave goods suggests vibrant international trade or travel in this coastal community.
Here we've got a collection of small yellow glass beads. This pendant looks like it's gold, with really fine gold filigree on it. These are imported. These might come from as far afield as India. So it really encapsulates how diverse and well-connected Kent was at this time.
Two of the most fascinating graves were excavated and their contents removed early in the dig. Tim Allen is lead archaeologist on site.
In this large rectangular burial was the skeleton of a horse and of a large wolf-sized dog.
Next to the two animals, the remains of a man who seems to have earned great respect.
He had a sword with a ring on it and a jewel set into the sword, which marked it as a royal gift sword.
Perhaps the sword was bestowed by a king or local leader for the same fearlessness that led to a brutal death.
The shield was placed over the skull, and when we lifted the boss up, we realised why, because the skull had been crushed in, and it looked as if they'd placed the shield over his face as a sign of respect for the person who died, or in this case, we suspect, was killed in battle.
In another grave, an impressive sword is carefully prepared for lifting.
Joe and Kirsty are now beginning to excavate the sea axe. It's called a sea axe. It's more like a short sword than a knife, or a large knife. It's thought that the name Saxon is actually derived from the word sea axe, because possession of a knife signified status as a free person in early Anglo-Saxon society. It would be suspended from a belt, and we can see the belt buckle there. And we know that this is probably a 7th century buckle, probably early 7th century.
From the bones to the artefacts, analysis of these burials will help to paint a clearer picture of 6th and 7th century life in Kent.
Many Anglo-Saxon cemeteries have been found in Kent over the years. They come up every so often. But there's some things here that are exceptional.
Next, the finds need to be cleaned and protected from the damage moisture in the air can cause, while also uncovering any information they may be hiding. Expert conservator Dana Goodburn-Brown has set herself up in the Digging for Britain tent to show me a few trade secrets and some of the best finds from the Deal dig.
Oh, Dana, I just can't believe how many finds you've got here, and this is just from 1 or 2 graves?
2 graves,
Two
yeah.
graves.
Incredible.
That's amazing. Can I pick that up?
Yep.
So have you started to conserve this yet?
There's micro evidence that's there, so I want to be really go slow with cleaning and understanding it before I start cleaning it.
So your work really is the next stage in the analysis after excavation, isn't it? That all these objects get carefully packaged up, sent to your lab, and you start to micro-excavate them.
Yeah, micro excavation is exactly right. But I can't go whipping off the corrosion because if you look really closely, you see all sorts of things.
Using her stereoscopic digital microscope,
Dana gently cleans a 7th century disc brooch found in the grave of a woman.
I'm right now looking at a garnet. There's different types of beading on one brooch. It's mind-boggling.
So you can judge depth as you're cleaning it?
I can, and otherwise I would not dare be taking even soft tools like a thorn because it would be so easy to scratch.
So you're using a thorn?
Yeah, a black thorn. And also I have a porcupine quill I use as well.
So all instruments which aren't going to scratch the surface, so you know you're not going to damage it when you're cleaning it.
And when it's very hard, then I would use my scalpel.
You can just see, as you do it, as you touch it with the scalpel tip, you can see the dirt flaking away. Conservation's not just about cleaning objects, it's about analysing them, understanding their construction, their makeup.
Absolutely. The making is so fine. I mean, you almost need a microscope to see the details of how they did it. All the wires are handmade.
The detail's amazing.
Yeah, it's incredible.
For even greater detail, Dana has used an electron microscope to magnify a tiny part of the warrior's sword handle.
Oof. What's that?
And an unexpected guest.
I think that's a little tick, maybe?
It looks like a tick. Entombed in copper. So we're getting all those kind of environmental clues.
So we've got the artifact, but then we've got little micro-eco facts kind of in there too. I'll send samples to a friend of mine in organic residue analysis, and so she can tell me if there's maybe honey there, or and then we can look at the proteins now. It's wonderful.
Yeah, I mean, there's so much information coming out of burials now. I just want to have a look again at these very beautiful objects. I mean, that lovely pendant. What was that? What was it part of?
That was found near the sword, so it's part of the sword embellishments.
And again, we've got those garnets.
And the little sparkly gold foil underneath.
Yeah.
And then gold around the outer cell, and then silver on the inner cells.
It's astonishing detail, absolutely beautiful, and that's just part of what would have been a very decorated sword fitting.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Coins to the eyes.
For our next dig, we're staying with the Anglo-Saxons. In the 8th century, the flat, marshy fenlands of eastern England were the perfect place to come.
If you're a would-be saint seeking out splendid isolation to get closer to God. But what is the reality? Who were these medieval saints, really? We can hope to get closer to the truth through a combination of archaeological and historical research.
In the Lincolnshire Fens is a site where it's claimed a hugely influential early medieval monk lived out his most pious years. Here in the early 8th century, this man achieved Christian megastar status for renouncing his riches and embracing the life of a hermit. His name was Guthlac. After his death, Guthlac was made a saint and therefore ascended to heaven to be next to God. But back here on Earth, there's very little hard evidence about his life. Archaeologist Hugh Wilmot is on a mission to change that.
We know from historical sources that in the year 699, Guthlac came here and lived in sort of splendid isolation and built a sort of hermitage. In the 7th century, it would look completely different. It would have been quite a desolate wasteland, so it's an ideal place for Guthlac to come to sort of seek solitude from the world.
Hugh's team are forensically sifting the site for evidence dated to Guthlac's time here, half a mile from Crowland village, in the early 8th century.
We've been finding some really interesting finds that are early medieval in date. So we've got some fairly typical Anglo-Saxon pottery of the time, which is fairly crude, it's fairly heavy, but it's functional everyday ceramics.
Guthlac's home was said to be a simple dwelling dug into a mound in a desolate field.
Well, we've been finding quite a bit of worked flint, particularly in the sort of central area of the site. And it feeds into the Guthlac's story, because we're told by the chroniclers that he came here and actually made his dwelling in the side of an old barrow, so, you know, prehistoric barrow, presumably. And we are now finding evidence for prehistoric activity here.
There may not be much to see of Guthlac's daily life, but excavation supervisor Duncan Wright has uncovered the foundations of a large structure, possibly built in honour of Guthlac after he died in 714.
This appears to be the western limit of our building. We have a large wall in the trench here. That's the interior of the building. We're particularly excited about this structure because it is orientated perfectly east-west. It's substantially built of stone. This may well be an early medieval church of some description.
In nearby Crowland, a monument was built soon after Guthlac's death at the age of 41. The original Crowland Abbey, rebuilt several times over the centuries, was founded to honour the saint.
Monks here at Crowland Abbey held his relics, and people would travel far and wide to come and visit his shrine. And you can tell from the richness of the church quite how much money this would also have generated for them through the sort of pilgrimage trade.
This dig raises a fascinating question. How did this apparently reclusive hermit become such an important figure in the early days of the Christian church in Britain? Historian Ona Nubia has travelled to Cambridge University to investigate.
As a historian, part of my job is to try and unpack the fact from the fiction.
The arcs of history are long, and St Guthlac's life is one of those obscure moments on those Lincolnshire fens in Crowland, all the way till now, 1,300 years later, we are still talking about this man.
This simple hermit's life led to the creation of a key site of Christian pilgrimage, later promoted by one book. It was written shortly after Guthlac died in 714 by a monk called Felix. It's incredibly rare, and Dr. Philippa Hoskin of the Faculty of Divinity has agreed to show me a copy.
So Philippa, I'm interested in learning about Guthlac's journey. Where did he start? Who was he? And why did he end up being this saint?
Well, to start with, he's the son of a nobleman. And when he's about 15, we can see from what it tells us in this book, et juveni impectore, and his young heart is filled with a desire for dominatione, for power.
He says love, doesn't it? Is that quite strong there, to say that he had a love for power?
Yes. So he becomes a warlord, if you like, and he starts going out and raiding. He gets money, booty, more people who follow him.
So this is what he's doing as a young man. And then he has a revelation, is it?
After 9 years, he gives up what he's doing and he goes to live in a monastery.
There's an old idea that to want to be poor, you have to be rich in the first place. Because no one wants to actually be poor who's poor. It's only the rich that want to be poor or think that there's some virtue in it.
Yeah, it's about renunciation, isn't it? He's experienced that secular power and he can go and look for something else.
The book tells us that Guthlac found the life of a medieval monk still too indulgent, so he seeks a closer connection to God.
It says here, illuminatio cordis gremio.
Illuminati is a fantastic word, isn't it? Obviously, we get the English word illumination from it, but it's almost like he's seen the light.
Yes,
Yeah.
he has. And it says he wants to go into the Heretum here, into the desert. Of course, this is Lincolnshire, and he decides that he's going to be this sort of hermit.
So he wants to be in touch with nature because he feels it will make him closer to God.
He wants to struggle. He wants to suffer.
It is Guthlac's sacrifice as a hermit that makes him famous, including the most frugal diet possible.
Calente aquae. It's a muddy, horrible water.
Panis is bread, isn't it?
Panis is bread. He's eating tiny bits of bread.
So this text is going into a lot of detail about what he's wearing,
Yeah.
what he's consuming, and how he's living, to paint a picture for us that this is someone who's living an aesthetic lifestyle, a lifestyle that are like the saints.
Yes, absolutely. You know somebody is a saint because they behave like a saint.
So this book would draw people to Crowland. It's an advert for a pilgrimage that includes Crowland. It's almost a roadmap to divinity.
Absolutely.
This account of Guthlac's life, written so soon after his death, is advertising to the faithful that giving up your possessions brings you closer to God. And what better way to give them up than by giving them to the church in the name of Guthlac?
So within a few centuries, from obscure lives like St. Guthlac, the English church became part of an international economic, political powerhouse.
It's time to journey back to the East Midlands and the site where we started off our archaeological tour, our very special Roman mosaic dig in a farmer's wheat field.
Come with me, John.
But attention has shifted from the small piece of mosaic I helped uncover when I first visited.
Show you what your task is for the day.
That's because there's big news. Digging on the rest of the mosaic is on hold thanks to a new discovery in the layers above it.
So the chances are that in here, although we can't see it yet, we've actually got a grave cut.
If there's a grave here, there could well be human bone, so the team must proceed cautiously to avoid destroying vital evidence. Jen Browning is in charge of the dig team.
It's actually quite exciting because we've discovered the remains of a human body, basically.
These remains could hold clues to the people who occupied this site after the original villa's owners.
The villa has fallen down or, been demolished, and the burial is actually on top of that. So it's likely to be very late Roman or possibly Saxon. So really exciting stuff for us.
No, it's broken. This is going into the box. Hopefully the rest will just lift off.
One of the more unexpected discoveries has been made by former county archaeologist Peter Liddell.
One bizarre thing is the skull was entirely full of snails. So all of those came out of inside the skull. But I have never seen that inside a skull before. So whether we have vicious brain-eating snails in Rutland, I'm not sure, which is a little bit weird.
I am a human bone expert, so whenever I hear about burials, my ears prick up, and I've had a chat to John and Jen, and they are very happy for me to start having a look at the bones which emerged from that main room in the villa. They're very fragmentary, but if we wash them, I might be able to tell something about the people that were buried here once the villa fell into disuse. So, Kirsty, you actually excavated these bones, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. I found part of the skull as we were cleaning back the soil.
And do you think it was just one burial?
We think it might be two.
Yeah.
Because we could see 4 sets of legs.
Right, OK. What looks like a tray of random bones might tell us some revealing details about who the two people buried here were. Trying to organise things by region of the body. So we've got a really nice set of bones from the hand here, metacarpals which are in the palm of the hand, and then we've also got some of these phalanges, which are the finger bones. So there's a whole set of finger bones there, that's rather nice. And then we've also got a nice bit of the jaw. So I'm noticing a difference here. Are you noticing a difference in the teeth that we're getting?
Those ones seem very worn.
Yeah, so these anterior teeth are completely worn down. And in this jawbone, there's a space here where, in fact, the molars have gone, and they've gone a long time before death. This bone has had a chance to essentially heal over those sockets. So this is probably quite an elderly person, as opposed to... So that's a premolar there, And that's another premolar.
Oh, yeah, there's a lot less wear on that.
So I suspect we've got an older person here and a much younger person here. So it is useful. I know it's painstaking, isn't it, doing this, but it is actually all very useful because to be able to hopefully look at age and sex and other bits of pathology as well. Just start to give these people a bit of biography, a bit of identity.
Yeah.
With bones still emerging out of the ground and progress on the mosaic still stalled, I catch up with what's been discovered in the mosaic's neighbouring trench. I've got to be quite careful about where I tread here, but I've been told I can go down this little ramp and tread on this area. Don't want to walk over anything that's just been cleaned. Jeremy.
Hi.
Hello. Jeremy Taylor from Leicester University is supervising this part of the dig.
Welcome.
This looks exciting. You've very definitely got walls here.
Yes, and quite a complicated array of them as well.
So what have you got here then? You've got a room here that you're standing in.
That's right. And essentially, if you see running across the trench, pretty much where you're standing, right the way across, is the northern end of a large stone-built building, probably from east to west, round about 14, 15 metres long.
Who would have lived in a place like this, Jeremy?
In all probability, you know, a very wealthy Roman landowner, a regional notable, somebody who's, you know, a very powerful individual in local society.
Oh, it's fascinating, isn't it? Because you're getting a glimpse of stratification of Roman society.
Absolutely. Places like this are very important, not just as a country seat to bring your friends and other peers to, but also as a fundamental part of who you are in maintaining your status and wealth.
So at the moment, we've got this large main building with the fantastic mosaic in it.
Yeah.
That's where the landowner and perhaps his family are living.
Yeah.
I think this is where he's installed his mother-in-law.
Possibly, although I hope we haven't found her, that's the only thing.
It's clear that the scale of Roman building on this site was impressive. And itching to get another look at that mosaic, I've found a way to see how part of it may once have looked. Ooh, so this is the drawing you made on site last year?
Yes, it's drawn at a 1 to 10 scale using a 1 metre drawing grid. And then paint it, tesserae by tesserae.
David Neal has spent decades painstakingly recording Roman mosaics and then painting them by hand to reveal their original glory. It's mind-blowing, the detail. So how many tesserae are represented in this part of the mosaic that's already been uncovered?
Well, I should think in that section there are at least 60,000 at a guess.
Yeah.
I suspect we may have to paint yet another 30 to 40,000 tesserae.
Oh my goodness, and you are painting them individually?
Yes.
Was it obvious to you, particularly as soon as you saw the mosaic, that it was a story of the Trojan War?
Yes, it is clearly the Trojan War.
From what we've seen so far, the mosaic appears to be a dramatic illustration of what is perhaps the Trojan War's bloodiest passage, when the Greek warrior Achilles kills the Trojan Prince Hector, then drags his corpse around Troy, finally demanding that Hector's grieving father, King Priam, pays his son's weight in gold for the return of the body. Is that a common theme for a Roman mosaic?
There are subjects, various aspects of the Trojan War, but it'd just be one small scene.
Yeah.
Here you've got these 3 scenes, and this is what is remarkable about it.
So that's completely unique?
Yes.
Yeah. David is having to be just as patient as me, as, tantalisingly, I'm going to leave the team to it for a few more days. But when I return, I'll be helping David uncover the entire mosaic, revealing the whole story of what those Romans left behind in this field over 1,600 years ago.
We dig for the gods that leave no bones, for the ship, the sail, and the sun can see the vessel aloft in the sky of stone, the famine road and the merchant's quay.
The fertile fields of eastern England have long sustained the cereal crops needed to make that elixir of medieval life. Ale, vast quantities of it must have been produced and drunk. But how is it made and what did it taste like? We catch up with some archaeologists on a quest to answer those very important questions. We now make our way back east to the coast of North Norfolk and the village of Sedgeford. With Roman influence waning, a new culture started to emerge in early 5th century Britain, a culture linked to Germanic tribes across the North Sea and incomers bringing with them new habits and customs. In 2013, archaeologist Dr. Ellie Blakelock found a settlement after a geophysical survey revealed intriguing evidence in the corner of a field in Sedgeford. Since then, an annual summer dig for volunteer archaeologists has been helping piece together what once happened here.
We found some hot spots that suggested that there was some form of hot working process. We originally thought it was going to be iron working, but when we actually excavated and started working on the site, we realised quite quickly that they were nothing to do with metal working. They were something else.
In fact, Ellie had discovered an industry of a completely different kind. It turns out this massive site was part of a huge malting operation used to make the vital ingredient for the most popular drink of Anglo-Saxon times, ale.
What we have here is we have a steeping tank. Now, this is a clay-lined structure, and we think that there were originally sides to it here and another one that's actually on this side here.
Steeping the harvested grain in this water tank was the first step of the malting process.
And what you do is you lower your grain into this water and it soaks into the grain and it starts the germination process, which is so important for the beer making process.
Buried in the ground, Ellie's found evidence of tools that show what a large-scale operation this was.
And what we have here is we have a wonderful iron hook, and they would have used that to lever the grain into the water and take it back up again.
The soaked grain was then spread across this clay floor to continue germinating.
So waiting for the little shoots and the little rootlets to start forming in the grain. And that tells them that it's starting to build up sugars and starch. And that is what's really, really useful and important for the malt and for actually creating your beer.
At least 5 kilns have also been found on the site. These would have been used to dry the malted grain, stopping germination. One reveals an incredible link to the maltsters of the distant past.
But what's really remarkable about it is you can actually see the fingerprints and smears of the Anglo-Saxons from when they actually repaired the kiln. And it's so nice to be able to sort of almost touch and feel the people in the past.
In a fascinating effort to reveal even more about the ancient Anglo-Saxon malting process here, PhD student Hannah Carrow is using a flotation tank to separate out burnt grains unearthed at the site.
Right, so here we have a bucket of sediment from the north end of Kiln 2. I'm just going to put some of it into the tank here. Burnt seeds which are light float to the surface of the water, and then they collect in the bucket, and you can begin to see a piece of some charcoal and some seeds down there, which is exciting.
Hannah can now identify exactly which cereal grains were used to make the malt using a microscope.
So quite excitingly, these grains are 1,200 years old from the Middle Saxon times. So we've got here, there's a big barley grain quite badly damaged down there. So this is a wheat grain. This is the most common wheat grown today and also in the Anglo-Saxon period. And lots of rye, the most common kind of grain at Sedgeford. It's unusual to find a site with such a high proportion of rye. So that's interesting.
The discovery of these 3 cereal crops has led archaeologists to one conclusion.
We find all 3 types of grain, the rye, the wheat and the barley, in pretty much every single sample from Sedgeford, which potentially suggests that they were being grown together in one field and harvested together and then malted together to make beer, which was made from all 3 types of grain.
The high proportion of rye is unusual in British malting, and it could say something about the ancient ale makers of North Norfolk.
The fact that we've got the rye here does suggest that link back to their ancestral homelands where they're using rye on a more regular basis, and it probably suggests that what's happening is the Anglo-Saxons have brought across their technology for beer making and for malt making, and what we're seeing is sort of the continuation of that process.
Perhaps the best way to understand the effect of using all that rye is to brew some ale with it. Dr. Stuart Pryor has come to meet an expert home brewer to get a taste of the past.
Now, I like an ale as much as the next early medieval archaeologist. So understanding the Saxon brewing process feels like perfect experimental archaeology to me. Hi, John.
Hello, Stuart.
Nice fire you've got going. I understand you're a Saxon brewing historian.
Yes. I've done a few early medieval brews based on the best part of 6 months of evenings in the Imperial College and Science Museum libraries, exploring various old books and reference books referring back, and came up with an idea of some recipes.
You've got some beer for me to try?
I have indeed. I've had some just here. Excuse container.
OK.
This has travelled a bit, so it's got a bit cloudy.
John's research led him to create an Anglo-Saxon ale recipe that, unlike the Sedgeford blend, uses plenty of barley, but zero rye. The barley ale is flavoured with honey and a plant the Anglo-Saxons found on riverbanks and marshes, bog myrtle. God, that's not bad, is it?
It's a nice brew.
That's not bad. Wow, that's actually really sweet.
It is. The honey does that. It's not meant to get you drunk, it's meant to be a nice, pleasant drink.
It is pleasant. I'm surprised at how good it is. John's going to recreate a beer based on the unusual grain ratios found at Sedgeford. 10% barley, 20% wheat and 70% rye. So this is the rye?
Yeah. 2/3 rye, yes.
So 2/3 rye?
Yep. And here is crushed rye. Rye is much more unusual in brewing.
This makes the product?
Yes, if you smell that, it's got a really aromatic smell to it.
Smells like, well, beer.
Exactly. And that will infuse into the liquid. We put it with the water and the flavourants.
And that would have made a fairly good beer, or?
I'm not sure. As I say, I've always done single brews, so it'll be interesting to see what it comes out like.
Next, John has to steep his mix of crushed grains. So you've got your 3 grains.
I have indeed. There's the rye, there's the barley, and here's the wheat. And you do that simmer now for about 1.5 to 2 hours.
After cooling and fermenting for 4 days, John's experimental Sedgeford rye ale will be ready to drink. But in another time-honoured tradition, here's one he made earlier. It's definitely drinkable. I prefer it to water, but it's very earthy. Very earthy.
Yes, it would need flavouring.
So this is a good way of protecting your health as well as providing.
And
you
also
with
boiling it would kill off any parasites the water has picked up through storage or whatever else, of course.
I'll just try it again just to make sure. It's going to taste nicer the more I've drunk.
As the night goes on, yes, certainly.
Whether or not the Anglo-Saxons knew it was the boiling that made their beer safer to drink than water, it's fascinating they malted their grain on such an industrial scale at Sedgeford. Cheers.
Cheers.
The rye-rich brew isn't quite as Moorish as John's sweetly flavoured Anglo-Saxon barley ale. It's definitely strong. But at least it's not going to kill me. Thank God I'm not driving home. Honestly, it's strong.
Our Anglo-Saxon digs have given us glimpses into lifestyles and characters from those early medieval centuries. Fascinating weaponry and jewellery, certainly, but very little evidence of interior decoration. Thankfully, those show-offs, the Romans, have compensated as I return to perhaps the most extraordinary find ever to feature on Digging for Britain. Right, I'm back in this field. I was here about 2 weeks ago, just starting to uncover that amazing mosaic. And this site was promising to be maybe the most significant Roman discovery in Britain for at least the last few decades. And I can't wait to see if it's living up to those expectations. Jim, hello.
Hi.
Farmer's son Jim discovered the mosaic back in 2020. It's taken until now to get this unique piece of art history back open.
Tingling with anticipation here, Jim. Oh, look at this.
It's my first proper look at what's hoped is around half of the mosaic.
Wow. Gosh, it is big, isn't it? That's the part I helped to uncover 2 weeks ago, just there.
There's so much colour, isn't it?
It's a beautiful thing, isn't it? I mean, to you, this is just one of the fields on the family farm. You're really familiar with it. And then suddenly it's not just one of the fields.
What have we got?
It's
Yeah, incredible.
really, really incredible. Right, I'm going to go and have a chat to John. Where is he? He's over there, isn't he?
Yep.
I'll
Enjoy.
catch up with you in a bit.
With this half of the mosaic back out in the open, it should be possible to start exposing more, if indeed it survives, and hopefully we'll see more imagery from this legendary moment in Greek mythology, the brutal slaying of Hector by Achilles during the Trojan War. John Thomas is overseeing this delicate operation.
It's amazing. It's wonderful to see a mosaic coming up like this, and you're finding new bits of it.
We're getting new bits. We are moving into the apse, and we're moving across the room into the areas that we unexcavated last year.
So do you think that this mosaic goes all the way up to that wall over there?
That's what we're hoping.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, basically what we're seeing is a sort of design, like a comic strip, really, over 3 panels telling the story.
I'm kind of itching to get in there, actually. Do you need more help?
That would be grateful.
Yeah, OK.
I think we've got enough shovels for everybody here, haven't we?
Everyone's on a mission to get the rest of the earth cleared as soon as possible.
So this is the scene from the Iliad, the end of the battle. This is really exciting now. So this is the body of Hector that we've got coming up here.
Mosaic artist David Neal, who at the age of 80 seems to be working harder than just about anybody here, is letting me uncover what we hope is the face of a dead Hector.
This is his, there's his abdomen, and these are wounds on his abdomen. He's got wounds on his chest, and under here, we're expecting to find the head. Is the face of Hector. There are the eyes, just coming up.
May intrude into the next panel. It'll be interesting if it does.
There he is. His eyes and his nose, where Hector, who I think might be dead at this point, is being dragged behind the chariot of Achilles, dragged around the walls of Troy. And you can see his body here. His legs have disappeared in that area of damage, but we can see his arm coming up here.
The archaeologists had feared the large patch of what appears to be fire damage in the middle could run all the way across. But with each new perfectly preserved tessera we reveal, the picture becomes clearer in all its gory detail.
David, how common is it for mosaics to have figures on?
It's quite rare. You get little scenes where you've got 1 or 2 figures in isolation, in separate panels.
Yeah.
Various mosaics around Britain, but nothing on this scale.
Really?
No,
Really?
nothing at all. Here you've got the whole story spread out.
Yeah. That is fascinating because, you know, what we're seeing here is the archaeology that survives, and it's hinting at a much richer material culture.
Yes.
All the paper that we don't get, all the vellum that we don't get,
yes. Obviously a very educated man who owned this. Yes.
Somebody who could read the story.
Read the story in both perhaps Greek and Latin.
Yeah. Once again, we've got this astonishing preservation here where luck has played a huge role. We had a face of Achilles there which had barely survived being lost forever, with an area of damage which came right up to his forehead, and we've got exactly the same thing here with Hector.
At last, the final crumbs of earth are brushed away.
I'm just getting rid of most of the water from this.
It's time for David to demonstrate one of his tricks of the trade.
When you pour water, I want that amount of water poured in, but no more. And then you've got to come to me with the water.
This unique, rapid mosaic washing technique rinses away the dust and brightens the tesserized colours. Finally, after perhaps 1600 years, human eyes can once again appreciate the craftsmanship and artistry of this dining room floor.
What's extraordinary is that although we've got areas of damage, we can still see what each of those panels represents.
Yes.
This is the story of the climax of the Trojan War. Tell me what we're looking at here.
Well, the first panel is the contest between Achilles and Hector.
Hector, the Trojan prince, facing off Achilles with the Greeks.
Yeah.
Hector over on the right-hand side. And then we've got that magnificent chariot that Achilles is driving.
That's right.
And even though a lot of Achilles is missing, his face survives.
His face survives. And what I like is the fact that the horses are represented in different colours, both sides. And then in the middle, Achilles wins, and Hector's body is being dragged around the walls of Troy, and Priam pleading with Achilles to be merciful.
So Priam is the king of Troy.
He's the king of Troy.
As
his son. He's seeing his body being dragged around the walls of Troy. And of course, Achilles is not going to let him have the body back without his weight in gold.
We are looking at a brutal Bronze Age story.
Yes, really nasty. And then the final scene represents King Priam has come to Achilles' camp with the gold to recover the body. We have these three wonderful scenes of the Iliad. It's quite amazing.
And we're seeing it in all its glory. You must be so pleased, John.
Oh, absolutely. And there's much more of it than we could have hoped for, really.
At the beginning of the dig, you were suggesting, David, that this was an incredibly significant discovery. You've seen so many Roman mosaics over the course of your career. Why is this one so special?
It's figured, it's animated, it's a copy of or pages of a book. It's telling us so much, not just, I mean, it's joyous to look at, but it's telling us so much about the villa proprietor. I think that's wonderful. And it's probably one of the finest mosaics in Northern Europe on this theme.
What is so astounding about this is that nobody had any idea that this villa was here, that this extraordinary mosaic was here. And now this year, with it fully uncovered, we can see the story, and it is a story. It's not just decoration. It's a story that's been passed down through generations, and here we are in an English field so far away from Troy, revealing this story again. So we might think we know everything about Roman Britain, but we're only just starting to uncover the story right here.